If you've been a little bit confused about how to read Lenormand and you've been reading them like tarot cards, I'm hoping to get you on track, because after reading tarot it does become kind of hard to put a Lenormand hat on, but it's really important to learn the language, because if you're going to read all oracles the same way, chances are you'll get the same message no matter what you're reading. If you can read two systems very differently, it's like reading a different language. There's a different message, or it may give you more information that you couldn't glean out of the other system. And this is why I like to learn different systems, because they don't speak the same way. Eskimos have, I don't know how many words for the concept of snow. We maybe have, 3, wet, fluffy, and white and dirty, or something like that. But they have all different kinds of the soft snow, the snow that's round like little rocks, the tiny little ice formations, all different ones. They have different names for it. So let's talk a little bit about the concept of reading images. Symbols can be read two different ways. So when you're reading tarot, and let's suppose you get the Two of Pentacles, you may want to really sink into this card and say, look, he's really juggling, and there's an infinity sign. He may be doing it for a long, long time. And in the background, wow, there's rough water. So you may be having a rough time, and this boat is big, this boat is little. You may have to juggle one thing that's really huge, one thing that's small, or one may be less significant. This hat is really tall. What does this mean? It may stand out and look different. All these things can become a part of the psyche of the tarot and the things that you see. So you can put one card to work for a long time, and you can get a lot of different things. And you know what? In different readings that you do, you can get really different types of things out of this depending on how you feel. Or you may focus on one specific image. Maybe you're just focusing on the coins in one. Maybe in another one, all you notice is that one foot is on the ground and one is not. Maybe in another reading, you really notice just these ships. Or you just see what he's looking at. He's staring just at this. So the card kind of takes on different moods and personalities based on different readings. While there are a few different meanings for each Lenormand card that can kind of adapt the meaning based on the context of your question, you're really using this more like a pictograph. So I want you to think back to hieroglyphics. So when hieroglyphics were a part of the Egyptian way of communicating, when they wanted to leave communication, each picture would represent a concept. So the scientists that are interpreting these really have to base and figure out, what is this concept, what is this concept, what is this, how does this mean, and what are they trying to convey. What they're not saying is, this is an owl. Notice how his wings are closed, his legs are a little bit far apart. That may mean he's maybe walking, maybe a little tentative, he's looking forward. That's not the way you would read a hieroglyph. It's a concept of one unified concept. And you want to make sure you do the Lenormand the same way, that you're considering it one unified concept. Chinese pictographs evolved over the years, so we now have kind of their characters down here that have evolved from pictographs. And the same thing with Chinese characters, each one represents a specific concept. So example, if you look over the years, human started like this, and you can see how it evolved and it becomes more simplified. Let me give you a different example. So if you look at the Chinese pictographs, this was originally sun, and then modernized it this way. And then if you want to put it into print, it's this. These all mean the same thing, but this evolved from that. But when you're reading the word, you want to read this as sun, not as this may be a ladder that's going up, it's going toward the sky. Oh, look, there's 2 steps or 3 steps. That's not the way this type of pictograph is read. Same with mountain. You can see how it evolved with one pointy thing in the middle and then evolved into print. And farmland, same sort of thing with the crops and the sections. So hieroglyphs, pictographs, Chinese characters all have one concept. You might even remember when you were young doing something called rebus books or rebus symbols. And these are where, suppose you learned peas porridge hot, peas porridge cold. The picture would represent the word next to it to help you read it, or they would actually eliminate the words and you could use just the images for some of them. So for this particular poem, peas porridge, there it is, hot, there's the fire, peas porridge, there it is, cold, and you've got ice, peas porridge in the pot, there it is, and then 9, the number 9, days old. Now if you remove the words here and just looked at the peas porridge and then the hot, that's kind of like the way you would consider Lenormand cards. So it would be hot porridge, cold porridge, porridge in the pot, and then you've got the 9, and you would need something to represent days, 9 what. So just to let you know, you're not saying, wow, this is a big fire, this is a little fire, and oh, it's dripping and it's cold, and this may be 3 spikes, so you've got 3 days, and oh, it's a little pot, it can't fit. You're not doing all those things. You're just making a single concept or word out of each image. So this is much like a rebus-like concept when you're doing Lenormand. So here's another one. You might remember these little puzzles, but if you were to take these rebus symbols, you might get something like I like to prepare, and you can make actual sentences out of it. While the Lenormand doesn't do that sort of trickery with synonyms in most cases, what you really are doing is concept, 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 that sort of thing. So what we're talking about is a hieroglyph. That's actually Greek for sacred writing. It's just a script, it's pictographic. So by definition, if you look at Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the definition of a rebus is a representation of words or syllables by pictures of objects or by symbols whose names resemble the intended words or syllables in a sound. So when we see, for example, this rebus, can you figure out what this is? Can you see well? So it's the same kind of thing. This is kind of a puzzle, but it's basically one concept, and then you got a concept here for the concept of well. Same thing with Lenormand. The object or picture will represent the concept you're trying to get across. So when we're looking at Lenormand, and I'm going to put tarot aside here, I'm going to take it the Lenormand. So if you have flowers and you consider, let's say for this reading it's going to mean a gift. If you get flowers with mountain, gift blocked, so not getting it. If you do it this way, something is blocked but a gift arrives, something good arrives. If you get flowers with scythe, the gift may be dangerous, or the gift may be cut off very quickly. If you were to get asking about a raise, this would mean you might have got it, but it was cut. If you're asking about a raise here, it might be a long time before you get one to get over that mountain. Now birds, if we're asking about a discussion or a conversation or maybe a small meeting, this birds card with the lucky clover it might be a little lucky here. It might be a little something good might happen for you. If this is luck, it might be in some sort of discussion or the way something is said. Likewise, if you look at these two cards from the Blue Owl Lenormand, you've got whip and broom and fox, two troublesome cards. So this can be abuse or picking on, a criticism. And the fox is kind of like, it means like trickery, something that's not right, deceitfulness. So this is basically some kind of criticism that's deceitful. Okay, so it's criticism for the purposes of deceit, or if this is the adjective, deceitful criticism. And if you turn it this way, you've got a fox or a person who happens to be abusive or deceitful. So this is a deceitful trickster, kind of or an abuse of someone who's talking bad gossip or something like that about, and this is the person that's doing it. So because the whip describes the fox, so it's a deceitful trickster or a gossipy trickster. If you put that fox with the mountain, you've got your fox that's blocked, or there's trickery that is being blocked and not allowed. It's almost like Control-Alt-Delete, he's gone. If you're using it this way, trickster, contract with. You're in contract with some kind of trouble if you're using this as your trickster card. If you're using the dog and the anchor, this is long time staying in one spot. This is a loyal person or a friend or a partner. So you've got a long-term partner really staying. And you may be getting this where you're staying for a long time with a friend, or loyal stay. You're loyal to your stay. You might want to just stay in one spot for a long time. You may be loyal to this job, really sticking with it. You may have a job with a loyal friend there. Okay, so just each concept is one word, and do you notice how we're not saying anything about this boat in the back? It really has no consequence in terms of how we're reading the language of the Lenormand. We're not noticing what time of year it is back here, or how big or small his house is, or what he's sitting with. We're not noticing all this back here, or that he's within a fenced-in area. That's all tarot-y stuff. That's tarotizing it. What we really want to do is say, this is your pictograph, and this is a pictograph. This pictograph for you means a loyal friend, and this means staying somewhere for a long time. You put them together, you've got a loyal friend who sticks around. So stick to your pictographs. Think of these like little hieroglyphs where you've got a representation of each one. And you don't want to go in too deep while you're reading the language, especially learning the language. To practice the one-word concept, let's see if you can figure out this little Lenormand rebus puzzle I made for you.